Yo guys, it's Mighty, and in this video I want to talk about the mouse that I consider to be the end game mouse that anybody should get. This is of course the WLMouse Beastx. This is a magnesium mouse that comes in at just under 40 grams, and I do love this mouse a lot. Coming to what's inside the box itself, the box of course has the mouse, as well as the massive dongle it's been known for. Inside the box there's also a user manual that is both in English and Chinese, as well as some grip tape and 4 different sets of skates. The grip tape that does come with this mouse is very good, and I did use it for about the month straight and I have no problems at all. It is relatively grippy, and if you've tried something like super grips, it is very similar to that. Next, for the mouse skates, these white mouse skates came on this mouse default, but I switched them out almost instantly. Other than that, you have of course blank PTFE skates, and you have the glass skates over here. Just note that all these skates, including the dots, come with film on them, so you will need to take them off before you do use these skates. Now talking about the build quality on this mouse, the build quality is very nice. I can squeeze this as much as I can on the sides and shake it, and there's nothing. This mouse's QC is impeccable, and I've had no problems with it at all. The coating on this mouse is also very nice. It's a very rubberized metallic coating, and I don't feel that I need to use the grips, even though I do have cicada wings on this click. On the sides of the mouse though, since these holes are very large on both sides, I did feel like I had to use the grips. I did switch out the original grips for cicadas. It still has the same effect, making the side walls of this mouse seem more solid and doesn't have as many holes. Coming over to the main clicks, the main clicks are slightly heavier than I'm used to, but also very easily to be spammed. They're perfectly tensioned with almost no pre-travel or post-travel on any of my clicks, and here's the sound test. As for the side buttons on this mouse, they're very easy to actuate with almost no pre-travel and post-travel, and no button wobble as well. Here's a sound test for the side buttons. The scroll wheel on this mouse is relatively stiff. There is very distinct notches, and it's not as light as some scroll wheels, like if you feel the Death Adder V3, that's a very light scroll wheel. This I'd compare it more to the HTS. It is still very usable for games like Apex, where I do have to scroll up and down very quickly. When it comes to my in-game performance with this mouse, it's the best that I have had so far. I beat a ton of Kovac scores with this and actually hit Diamond on Voltaic benchmarks because of this mouse, so I would say having a lighter mouse for me is better. It does come down to a lot of personal preference if you do like a lightweight mouse. For me, the lighter and faster and the less resistance I have when I'm using a mouse and a gaming device, let's say a keyboard, mousepad, skates, or a mouse, the better I do perform. That is the main reason why I do use a glass pad with some of the fastest skates that you can get. On this mouse, I am using the X-Ray Pad Shade Dots. These are very good skates. I did make a review on them 2 weeks ago, so I'll link that down in the description if you do want to watch that video for yourself. Now, comparing this mouse to other mice on the market, this mouse is very similar to the Starlight 12 Medium or the ULX Lion. It is slightly wider than the ULX Lion or the Starlight 12 Medium, and that is just because they want to avoid any lawsuits that might happen because of copying the design directly. If you don't know any of those designs, it is a very flat shape with a very centered hump and not much of a back hump. And the sides have very little tapering. It's much flatter on the sides than a mouse such as the Razer Viper Mini. To compare it to a Razer Viper Mini quote-unquote signature edition, this is a 3D printed shell of the signature edition, but it is the same shape. I would say these are very close in size when it comes to the height, when it comes to the length of them, but when it comes to the actual grip and how you hold this mouse, they are extremely different. The Razer Viper Mini does have much more of a back hump than the Beastx, as well as it being much thinner on the sides than the Beastx as well. So it fits very nicely into your hand, and you feel this part of the mouse in your palm. While this, you have much wider of a grip on the sides, as well as no pressure on any of the top parts. The only part that really touches the bottom of my hand is this space right here. For a mouse that I'd consider to be very similar in shape, but not size, is the Viper V2 Pro. This mouse is very flat and doesn't have that much curvature on the sides as the Viper Mini. This mouse is, of course, much larger and wider than the Beastx, but if you do like flat mice that doesn't have a very big back hump, I would say this mouse is for you if you don't like mice this large. For me, this mouse is basically perfect. I've always wanted to try a Starlight 12 medium, and when I heard about the ULX issues, I decided not to get one and get this mouse instead. I don't regret it at all. This mouse is $150, while the ULX is $190. It takes up to 2 months now to ship, and these ship in 2 weeks, if not less. I would consider this to be my endgame mouse from now on, and I really don't see myself upgrading from this mouse in the future. It is such a nice mouse to play with, and I have a very hard time switching off of this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, peace.